Azerbaijan and Turkey are preparing to make a decision that would be a humiliating blow to Putin's foreign policy. Azerbaijan could become home to the largest Turkish military base in the region, another pressure point against a weakened Russia. And Turkey is a NATO member and continues to expand its influence in the South Caucasus and Asia, areas considered strategically important to Moscow. Former head of the Aliyev administration, Eldar Namazov, said that the decision to create the base has already been practically made. According to him, the facility will be designed to serve a population of 250 million people and can be leased to the Pakistan Air Force, a country that has nuclear weapons. Such infrastructure will effectively turn Azerbaijan into a bridgehead for Ankara and its allies in the South Caucasus, which completely changes the balance of power in the region. Commenting on what is happening, analyst Anatoly Nesmian sarcastically noted that the wise policy of the Kremlin has already provided Russia with 2,000 kilometers of a new border with NATO in the north and will now create a threat from the Caspian Sea. According to him, Putin's actions have led to Russia gradually surrounding itself with alliance bases and losing its last real allies. This was probably the goal of the SVO, to finally surround the country with NATO bases and at the same time get rid of stockpiles of weapons and equipment. Nesmian states with bitter irony, "Since the start of the war against Ukraine, Moscow has sought to demonstrate control over the former Soviet republics, but in practice, the Kremlin has only accelerated the process of distancing them. Now Turkey, a NATO member, is strengthening its military presence, literally on Russia's doorstep, and Baku is no longer hiding the fact that it is ready to cooperate with Western allies without regard for Moscow's position." The rapid weakening of positions in the Caucasus and the possible appearance of a Turkish base in the Caspian are becoming yet another symbol of Putin's foreign policy failure. The war he unleashed to strengthen the Russian world has, on the contrary, made the country even more isolated and vulnerable.
A gasoline tank exploded early on Friday in southeast Rome, injuring at least 9 people including 8 police officers and a firefighter, police and rescuers said. According to Associated Press, the explosion was heard across the Italian capital shortly after 8 a.m., with a huge cloud of dark smoke and fire visible from several areas of the city. Elisabetta Accardo, a spokesperson for the Roman police, said that 8 police officers were injured after arriving for rescue operations. Spokesman Luca Carey said one firefighter was also injured in the explosion, but not seriously. 10 teams were at work on the site, he added. Police said they were checking the whole surrounding area to make sure that nobody was injured and blocked in the buildings close to the explosion. An Israeli drone strike hit a car on a highway in the town of Kalda just south of Beirut, killing 1 person and injuring 3 others, Lebanon's state-run national news agency reported Thursday. According to Associated Press, the Israeli army said in a statement that it had targeted a saboteur who was involved in arms smuggling and advancing terrorist plots against Israeli citizens and the Israeli Defense Forces on behalf of Iran's Quds Force. It was not immediately clear if the target of the strike was the person killed. A U.S.-brokered ceasefire deal nominally ended the latest war between Israel and the Lebanese militant group Hezbollah in November, but Israel has continued to launch near-daily airstrikes in Lebanon since then against what it says are officials and facilities of Hezbollah and other militant groups. Hezbollah has claimed 1 strike fired across the border since the ceasefire. Most of the Israeli strikes have been in southern Lebanon, but Israel has also struck a handful of times in Beirut's southern suburbs since the ceasefire. Thursday's strike was in a congested area close to Lebanon's only commercial airport. Nearly 250 people were killed and 609 wounded in Israeli attacks in Lebanon between November 28, the day after the ceasefire took effect, and the end of June, according to Lebanon's health ministry. On the heels of a successful NATO summit last month that saw member nations agree to invest 5% of their GDP towards defense, NATO Secretary-General Mark Rutte was asked in a Fox News interview about recent critical comments from Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov. According to Associated Press, Fox News asked Rutte about Lavrov's criticism that the increase to 5% by NATO members would lead to the collapse of the organization. "And by the way, we also need to pay for this, for building up NATO further," Rutte said, "because we know the Russian threat is there." Rutte went on to say, "Lavrov, I mean, he's foreign minister of Russia. I think since the birth of Jesus Christ and since then, anything useful came out of his mouth. So let's not pay too much attention to Mr. Lavrov."
Mr. Secretary, after your fantastic conference, almost all the allies agreed. Now you have Vladimir Putin seeing the increase in defense spending and saying it's going to cause your collapse through his foreign secretary. Your thoughts?
Well, you know, it was a huge foreign policy win for President Trump and his excellent foreign policy team with Matt Whitaker, the ambassador here, and Marco Rubio and Pete Hegseth. And finally now, the Europeans have committed to pay the same amount of money as the US is paying. And this is a discussion going on since Eisenhower. And by the way, we also need to pay for this, for building up NATO further, because we know the Russia threat is there. And then to Lavrov, I mean, he is foreign minister of Russia, I think, since the birth of Jesus Christ. And since then, anything useful came out of his mouth. So let's not pay too much attention to Mr. Lavrov.